minutes, so you could just stretch out your legs, have a sip of water, and refreshing yourself, gear yourself for one of our more interesting sessions. Make sure it's just 2 minutes. My voice will not go outside, so it will be hard for me to call you back. So kindly I request you to reassemble within 2 minutes. For which, joining us virtually, we have with us Ms. Agnes K.Y. Tai. She's the Director of Great Road Investment Corporation, Sustainability ESG Investor, Climate Action Influencer. Chairing this session as a moderator, we have with us Mr. Krishan Kumar Sharma. Can we have a great round of applause, please? He's a whole-time director at EHS DSM Shriram Limited. Our panelists, we have with us Dr. Vijayash Ranjan, who's the Additional Director General of Forest from Ministry of Environment and Forest. Can we have a great round of applause, please? Our next panelist, we have with us Mr. Amit Pawar, who's AVP Government and Public Services Advisory at KPMG India and also Sustainability Watch. Can we have a great round of applause, please? As our next panelist, I would like to invite Mr. Uday Shankar Singh, who's the CEO of Vishwa Yuva Kendra. Can we have a great round of applause, please? Also joining us in this session, we have with us Ms. Meenakshi Sharma, who's the Technical Director at KPMG. Can we give a great round of applause, please? With this session, I will be requesting our moderator, Mr. K.K. Sharma, sir, to kindly take forward.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction. And as far as this session is concerned, I would like to make it more interactive, as already introduction has been already done. So I will, without taking much time, straight away, the topic of this panel discussion is about the biodiversity and ecosystem. So first of all, I will start with the very first question. How many of you understand biodiversity? What exactly is biodiversity is? Because it's a post-lunch session, certainly...
Recording in progress.
Can anyone tell me? Anyone? Let me tell you the background of why I am asking. Because right now, though I am chairing this session, but almost 8 years back, when I was asked about biodiversity in my industry, my straight away answer was that biodiversity, we don't fall under this biodiversity. Because my industry is not in protected area. That was my first answer to biodiversity. Then later on, when over the years, when I learned about this biodiversity, it has not to be seen differently, but it has to be seen along with the ecosystem. What ecosystem? Air, water, soil, whatever raw materials we are consuming in terms of whatever way, in whichever industry we are related with biodiversity and ecosystem. So now the point which I want to tell you right now here is, the sensitivity of this issue is that over these years, what we have seen, that so much exploitation has taken place, which has affected not only biodiversity, but also has depleted and also affected adversely the entire ecosystem. That is why if you see, our nation has also taken some now annual targets of now protecting the environment in terms of not only protecting the ecosystem, but also preventing any further loss to biodiversity. That's one thing. And beyond that, there is a third target which has been taken, is in terms of promoting sustainable forestry practices, so that we don't further damage. You must have also heard about the recent report which was released by World Economic Forum, where top 10 risks for next 10 years, where top 4 risks are of environmental risk. And these are nothing but climate change is one, and then second one is the temperature, which is, we all are, it is visible around us. When this 2023 year is the warmest year among last almost 100 years or so. And there is third one, which is biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse, which is one of the highest risks identified for various businesses across the globe. And the fourth one is natural resource shortage. That is one, which is the fourth one. And lastly, there is also pollution, which is one of the risks identified for various businesses. that if we don't tackle these in our strategies, then certainly the businesses are not going to be sustainable. The various reasons which have been identified in terms of causing this biodiversity damage are mainly attributed to habitat loss and degradation, invasive species which have taken into the various places where the plants are there or trees are there. These invasive species have now got into the system, which ultimately has affected the entire biodiversity. Over-exploitation in terms of extreme hunting as well as fishing. These practices, there is a pressure because of that created. Pollution, of course, is one. Climate change, over-exploitation of natural resources, and finally human activity and population. In terms of our experience, since I come from DCM Shriram, we have three verticals in terms of our businesses, where we have one rural business. We have this, under that we have agri inputs as well as sugar and distillery business, and then second business is about chemical, which is chlor-vinyl business, which has PVC and other chlorine caustic chemicals, and third one is value added, which is UPVC doors and windows, which is by the name of Fenestra. So under these three, we have various facilities across the country in our various states, starting from Rajasthan, UP and Gujarat. So as part of this biodiversity assessment, I was telling you that we started off with biodiversity assessment. What it ultimately is, it talks about what is your flora and fauna health around your facility. That's the first thing which we did in terms of the baseline data generation. As we heard in the previous session, that unless you measure or monitor, you can't control. So that's the first thing which we did almost 5 years back for all our plants, where we now have the data that what is the flora and fauna health across the sites where we operate, and what is the impact of our various activities that we carry out at these sites. That's something which is available for us to put various actions in place, so that in future, whenever this survey or this assessment is done, we come to know what is the status of the health. Having said this, we also are founding member of one of the CII flagship program, which is by the name of IBBI, which is called India Biodiversity Business Initiative, under which we are committed for biodiversity restoration as well as ecosystem protection. In line with this, I think recently, just to let everyone know, there is a green credit program which has been launched recently in the month of October, where these are now taking shape of legislation also, where rules are being notified that there are tree plantation to rainwater harvesting to many other listed activities, which is mangrove plantation, even bamboo plantation also. Qualifies for this green credit, which is nothing but it's an endeavor in terms of providing a platform where anybody, any individual or even the self-help groups, including industries, can register on a portal where these activities can be registered, which can be certified, validated and also audited, so that these green credits in the form of you can say value generation are available, but certainly these methodologies are being developed, and in I think next 1 year or so we are going to see more and more such programs will be available for us, so that every individual can be also involved in this what we heard in the previous session, the LIFE program, which is Mission Life, so that the people are motivated in terms of taking individually mindful action in terms of reducing their carbon footprint and also contributing in terms of aligning to the national, that NDC goal of net zero by 2070. So I think with this I would move on. I think this panel is full of eminent speakers from various industries as well as various consultancy companies also. So certainly to start with, I would like to first of all invite Dr. Agnes, who has joined from Hong Kong, to share with us, and since she is an expert and also in the steering committee member in the Climate Governance Initiative Hong Kong chapter. So we would like to hear from you how climate finance is facilitating restoration of ecosystem and preventing loss of biodiversity, sharing your experience on this important topic of this right now discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I hope you all can hear me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for that generous introduction. I also serve the Climate Governance Initiative at the global level as a governing board member. Today, of the three topics, I would like to focus on water. I hope that you are able to see my screen. Are you able to see one slide? The very first slide?
No, not yet.
No?
No.
Not yet.
It's not on slide.
No. Or not on slide mode. Okay, let me see. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
One slide. Wonderful. I'd like to apologize for not being with you in person. Today is actually the Lunar New Year Eve. So we are touching the tail of the rabbit, and in less than 6 hours, we're going to be touching the whisker of the dragon. So I hope that in the next 5 or 7 minutes, I'll be able to share with you something about this weather, climate, water, people, how are we connected? I think you all already know, with all your expertise, that the ice caps where we get our fresh drinking water has been shrinking. The Himalayas, the Alps, every peak has been shrinking in terms of the glaciers and the ice caps. However, we also have floods which contaminates fresh drinking water. Fresh water in some places, like in Africa, they have not seen rain for 3 years, and the rivers and everything is drying up. And sea level rise, although it seems to be a very chronic threat to us, it's not so chronic anymore with melting of the glaciers faster than anybody expected, and that is going to make the water salinated. So according to NASA, in July they have a report saying that groundwater in the northern part of India has been reduced by a very severely amount. Now water is facing competing usages because we use it to not drink, but agriculture takes up about 70% of our fresh water globally, and we use it to cool our power generators, and we use it to manufacture semiconductors. So there will be conflicts, we believe, that because of this scarce resource. And in my mind, where water is really something very close to my heart because it is the scarcest resource and most underappreciated and most underpriced. So in the Philippines, already there are millions of people who are not living at their original homes because sea level rise, they are already displaced. United Nations tells us that only 0.5% of our water is actually fresh drinking water, and there are many people who don't have fresh drinking water and will be displaced. I'm not going to go through all the points point by point because you all know the background, but I want to move on to the next topic, which is very important, which is water conservation innovations. Actually, some of them do work. Now, United Nations says that 80% of our wastewaters in the world, they flow back into the ecosystem, they were not treated. And so water recycling, waste treatment, water treatment are very big. And in our part of town, although Hong Kong, we do a lot of water recycling and waste treatment, but then in other places, like Israel, they do more. I want to say to you that there are so many innovations or inventions that I have as a sustainable investor in the last 13 years. There are so many deals that come through to my desk and say, hey, we can convert air to water. And I said, well, so at what humidity level do they work? They said, well, they won't work under 55 degrees humidity. Oh, so in the desert that will not work. So when will it work? So there are a lot of these technologies that are very new, that are not scalable, and they probably are not commercialized or not able to be commercialized because they're very hard to scale up. However, desalination, which Hong Kong tried, and this year we're going to commission our new desalination plant of seawater into fresh water, that will supply 5% of our water. And I can tell you that Hong Kong pays 4.8 billion Hong Kong dollars, that is over 610 million US dollars per annum, to the Guangdong province so that we can get fresh drinking water from Dongjiang. Now, Israel has been advancing on this technology, and latest I saw another technology that they announced at the end of last year. So they're able to recycle their wastewater, 90% of them, reuse them. They were able to replenish the Sea of Galilee. The sea is not a sea, as you know, it's a freshwater lake. And they were able to be self-sufficient and even supply water to Jordan and the Palestine. So in terms of adaptation, we have to slow down a little bit. Adaptation and mitigation are two slightly different things, right? We know that in terms of handling, managing physical risks, we normally talk about adaptation. So we could have early warning systems with drones, with satellites and everything. We can have early warning systems of when typhoon may hit, when the storm surges may hit, and where. We also can have water allocation. Back in the 1960s, Hong Kong had a bad rationing time where we only get water 3 days, or one time in 3 days, so twice a week. And given the very small spaces that we live in with 3 generations in a tiny flat, there was not enough space for us to store enough water. So there are a lot of different things that we can think about. Hong Kong has a rain tunnel that is like a two double-decker bus sort of height in some spots. In some spots they are shallower, some spots they are deeper. Mitigation is really using a lot of water technologies that we touched upon just now. We can, as I was hearing, Krishna said, well, mangroves and growing something along the groves, that can actually help the storm surges from slowing down and not hitting the shore so hard. But the long-term purchase agreements, like I mentioned, Hong Kong's buying water from China, and Singapore buys water from Malaysia, although at a slightly different, cheaper price than we pay. But the reason why we pay so much is because we have to pay for the loss of livelihood of those farmers and those communities at the source, or very near the source of the river, because they can no longer have chickens or pigs or anything that will be grown in the community, in the farms, to pollute the water, right? So that's why we pay for those. But if we look at this, and I have just one more slide, and this says that according to the UN, there was an SDG report in 2023, so most of the countries, they are not prepared to conserve water and do something about it. So when governments need to do something about it, what can they do? So the first thing we think about would be finance, right? Just now I was hearing that there was a green credit program that was launched in October, and I really congratulate India for doing that, because the World Bank says the cost of clean water is very high, $150 billion a year globally. Now I managed to find some reports. The latest one is March 2022 from the World Water Council blended finance report in the water sector, and I found a case for India. So there are several cases too for South Africa. So India really, you had in 2002 a blended finance program where you actually pulled together the local water and sanitary providers, because they didn't have credit or credit ratings, or it was too expensive to go to the market to get bonds, a larger bond. So they pulled them together and they grabbed like $6.2 million US for a 15-year bond at AA credit and 9.2% coupons. Now, the AA credit was because there was multi-layer credit enhancement and some by the government. But if we look at, okay, so to help governance, we must have some sort of principles. So in 2015, OECD published 12 principles, starting from the left-hand side there, clear roles and responsibilities, and you go around and you can easily Google and find the 12 principles. But I say any principles, any governance is not going to be well executed if you don't have infrastructure and if you don't have data. So I heard the word data just now, and I think that India is already collecting a lot. How come we do? We know exactly how we use our water. But the thing is, we have to educate people, even individuals. We cannot take clean, fresh drinking water for granted. So during COVID, we were going to wash our hands, rub our hands 20 seconds with soap. We forgot to turn off the tap. We forgot to turn off the tap when we were brushing our teeth or shaving, right? So these are some sort of reminders when we need to share with people. And thank you for that. I'll be ready for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agnes. I think a few takeaways which I could see was, very nicely explained in terms of wastewater recycling to the extent of 90%, which means only the waste which is left over is 10%. That's, I think, a commendable effort in terms of recycling of wastewater. And another thing you touched upon, adaptation and mitigation. I think after COP28, the best learning for us is not only we do mitigation to achieve that 1.5 degree, what has been talked about, but at the same time we have to prepare ourselves to adapt to the new norm which is there in terms of the temperature rising. That's, I think, something which you have touched upon. And plantation of mangroves, just to let everyone know, in India also we have this mangrove plantation very well in place, where Government of India has, MOEF has launched a scheme by the name of Mishti. This is what I learned yesterday when I was in Goa in one of the conference, where this mangrove plantation along 11 states along the coastal lines, in line with what Dr. Agnes has just now shared with us. It's already in the plan, because mangrove is something which is very important for maintaining the biodiversity. That's the key for restoring the ecosystem also. And I think the cost which you have referred in terms of 150 billion per year to have this clean water is something which we have to keep it in mind, that is what is the cost. So any drop of water saved is certainly saving, not only in terms of treatment which will require at the end of the pipe, but certainly very, very helpful in terms of making it available for other sources. So I think let's move to the, now we also have Mr. Vijayash Rajan, who is ex-additional Director General of Forest from Ministry of Environment and Forest. So sir, would like to ask you, what were the key initiatives undertaken on biodiversity, especially on restoration of wetlands, afforestation, and saving wildlife under your leadership as part of MOE?
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, and good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon. After lunch, conducting a session is a very, very difficult thing. So hope I will be able to aware you. Everybody might have heard the cheetah reintroductions in our country. What is this? This is again one of the finest example of the biodiversity conservations. Cheetah is the largest predator in that particular habitat. So if the cheetah is restored in a habitat, down below all the animals, all the faunal populations along the food chain will be restored. So this is how we perceive, we forester perceives in government. We have many more policy legislation in place in terms of biodiversity conservation and its sustainability. Let me share one small example of G20. I was leading one of the thematic priorities in G20 under Indian presidency. Initially, a task is given to the country that you conceptualize the ideas first before the world, whether your idea will be sold out, accepted by the globe or not. So it was a challenge for us also that for the first time biodiversity was chosen to be incorporated in that G20 concept note. As a forester, I choose two priority areas. One, the degraded areas from the forest fire. Once the forest fire is taken place, entire biodiversity of that area is destroyed. Similarly is the mining areas. So once the mining has taken place, the biodiversity has gone. So how these two landscapes, which once upon a time is a biodiversity rich area, could be restored? And what is the meaning of restoration? So restoration was defined, and this whole concept note was sent to entire G20 countries and the international organizations. But it was surprising to us also. In the first meeting, we got a concurrence from all the countries. Please include biodiversity targets and goals and its process to achieve the goals and targets. Because only a few days back, the global biodiversity framework was in place. So my only say here is how the biodiversity to each one of us see in a different perspective. We see once the animal is in place, means its complete food chain is restored. Many people might say only plants are there, let it be there. This is the biodiversity. Yes, this is also biodiversity. So it is the perception that what we feel about the biodiversity. But as an ecologist, as a foresters, as a wildlife managers, as an experts, we conceive that emergence of the keystone species in any of the landscapes is the actual restorations of that particular habitat or landscapes. I was told to talk about the wetlands in referring the biodiversity. I am happy to share with you all that India is the country who had notified 80 wetlands of international repute to whom we call Ramsar sites. Ramsar is a small place in Iran where the international conventions took place. They identified certain criteria and indicators for the nominating any wetlands as a Ramsar sites, which also supports biodiversity enrichment. See, the wetland provides a large number of services. Not only wetlands. India has also submitted and formulated a river rejuvenation program. A new concept has come recently. I think my water colleague will explain on freshwater challenges. What is freshwater challenges? 3 lakh kilometer रिवर डिग्रेडेड है आज के डेट में. 350 मिलियन हेक्टेयर वेटलैंड डिग्रेडेड है. तब हम कहाँ पानी ढूंढेंगे फ्रेश वाटर? And only 53 countries has become the signatories to restore these degraded riverine length as well as the wetlands. So conserving the wetland, protecting the wetland and promoting the wetland development is one of the biggest challenges ever we face. Third issue was also touched upon the afforestation. You are talking about the green credits. Yes, Ministry has formulated a green bonds first. The green bond was the concept given to the government of India, one ministry to another ministry. Please procure the green bonds. Any agency which facilitates the plantations can procure the green bonds. As a government of India's ministry, we procured the green bonds to the tune of almost 190 crores. Now, how this knowledge, this share can be shared with the public or industry or the institutions. So the concept of green credits came in existence. And there are a number of parameters where the green credits can be possible, but recently we are able to finalize the plantations aspect. Supposing you are an industry, you have plantations of 100 hectares in any of the areas, whether it's a private area or your government area or any land, you can be given the credit of that plantations will be referred as a green credits. Or for any prospective projects, that credit will be accounted in your favor. So it is a win-win situation for the industry as well as the policy makers. One more issue was talked about was the wildlife conservation. Yes, we have a flagship species programs. Name the top species in the country. You will find India is one of the biggest repository of the top species. Recently I had been in Australia and I was in the deep inside the forest. जब मैंने पूछा आपके यहाँ के जंगल के सबसे बड़े स्पीसीज क्या है, उन्होंने कहा स्क्विरल। एक स्क्विरल है, आपको दिखा दीजिए एक स्क्विरल, नहीं मिला। और जब G20 कंट्रीज के पार्टिसिपेंट्स को हम यहाँ बैंगलोर में एक जंगल ले गए, तो उनमें अधिकांश के आंखों में आंसू थे कि मैंने पहली बार अपनी जिंदगी में ये सब जानवर देखे हैं। This is how the difference is. So we are the protector and others are virtually, the developed world has taken it in the back seats. So we have a legislation in place, we have a policy in place. I think there is a play, there is an area, grey area where we can interact. Can we become the partner? Can the government and the industry become the partner in the management of biodiversity conservation? This is the area where we can. Like, I'm quoting again the first example of the cheetah translocations. Yes, industry has come forward to promote the cheetah reintroductions in a big way. All the funding has been done by the industry. So yes, biodiversity conservation can take place with the active participations of the industries. Number two, can the industry or the academicians promotes the inventions? I believe yes. We should come forward. We should come forward as fast as possible, because in the government sector inventions are there, but we are unable to walk in the same pace. And third, can we make the indoor alliances? We are making the global solar alliances. We are making the Gandhinagar implementation roadmap, big alliances we are making on the mangroves also. But can industry and the government make alliances? I think yes, we can make alliances, and alliances makes both the stakeholders more friendly, more trustworthy, and more useful for the country for the mindful consumptions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranjan, for an insightful, I think, thoughts that you shared with us. Without taking much time, I'll move to the next panelist, Ms. Meenakshi Sharma, who is from KPMG, and certainly would like to hear your views on biodiversity, how you look at it.
I think I would like to take a step back and, after what Mr. Ranjan and Dr. Ignis kind of spelled out on what is really happening, and both of them have seen as tremendous leaders in the area of biodiversity. I think if we look at India and where we are, right, and let's first look at biodiversity. I think it will be a little bit laymanish, but let's try and put meaning to these words, diversity, and then trying to, that there's a lot of diversity around us in everything that we see, right? But there's a sense of unity around that, right? From a biological level, and that, to my mind, is biodiversity. And that's what Mr. Ranjan was saying, that to some people it might just mean animals, to some people it might just mean plants, to the rest it might just mean water. But I think if we were to construe it, all of them put together only make biodiversity, because that's the diversity that is there. And coming from a country of ours, where we take pride in bringing in a lot of diversity, right? In fact, I was enthralled this time when I was looking at the, watching the parade of Republic Day on TV though, but the number of, as you grow old, you start understanding and realizing things more, though we've been, watching that for years now. But you see that number of states, right, and their, what we call as jhankies or tableaus, And the various things that they were showing, and I don't know if anybody of you saw that exuberant dance performance which was there, right? And they did say around what 50 plus dance forms which are known and recognized, and I'm sure there will be 500 more which we still don't know. Those being performed at different tunes but still being united in that thread. So I think as a nation we really know this very well. I think the world is now trying to talk about it. There are various forums, there is COP, there is World Economic Forum, there are discussions happening at various levels. But I think if we go back within, if we delve deep within, and those were some conversations, some chit-chats which I was having with Mr. Ranjan just before this, that if we look at ourselves, when did we used to, our culture has been almost always a conserving nature. We have never ever been taught to throw away things, right? Correct? If you've been living or you've grown up with your grandmothers, they would have always taught you to kind of reuse things, right? We used to get new dresses maybe once in a year or twice in a year on Diwali or birthdays. That's not the case now because kids these days don't understand and hence don't even appreciate or value the things that they get every day. But we've been, I was partially listening to the panel that was happening before us where recycle, reuse, circular economy was being talked about. I don't think this is anything new. And I just kind of was reading some comment made by a connection of mine on LinkedIn where some person was actually talking about it and I said this is not a new concept to us. As Indians we might have forgotten that because we've forgotten a lot of things. Okay, and now there are people who are amongst us who are coming us and telling us that by the way your kitchen holds remedy to most of your problems of your gut or your health or anything. We always knew that, but we forgot that and now we are going back. So I think we have always been in that culture to respect the ecosystem that we are a part of, right? And not harness it to our own use. I being from Rajasthan, I take an example which you might have read or you might have studied or you might have watched. The famous Bishnoi clan that comes from a place where I come from, Jodhpur. They have, the Amrita Devi incident that happened in around 17th century, where the king was going to build a fort and needed some waterlogged, some wood for that, and khejdi, which is the state tree in fact, which is worshipped by that clan. They went to their village and started, wanting to cut off those logs of trees. And I'm talking about, 1700s somewhere. And that time there was this lady who was Amrita Devi, and she said that no matter what, I will not let even a tree cut, be it a king's instruction or anybody come for that matter. And she clinged, she wrapped herself around it. And the king's men were king's men, thought themselves to be no less than king, and they just axed her. Seeing that, her two daughters also rushed to do that, and then the whole village. You'd be astounded, there were around 364 people killed that day. But they did not stop. And just to remind you, this is the same clan which was again in news few years back for the black buck killing by a celebrity. So what I'm trying to say is that they have preserved and stayed in tune with nature. We have just come to know because of these 2-3 incidents which have happened. But I'm sure if we look around, there are many more such incidents which have been happening, which really showcases that our culture has so much been in tune and we have been taught to live in that manner that we respect your culture, which is the animals and the flora and fauna and everything. And we in fact, I don't know if there are cultures around the world who would worship a plant. Everybody sitting here would worship Tulsi, no matter whatever you think, there may be people who might be thinking that you are rudimentary, I don't know what, orthodox, etc. But there's absolutely no bit of thing when it comes to kind of feeling that is the kind of, and that is where religion has been brought into so connected with our way of living. Now that's again, I'm not going to religion in the terms of whatever we talk about today, but as a matter of faith. And that is how we do it, right? I was just taking a stroll with one of our senior members in our society, and she just brought this topic that, while we've got so many trees around, these days we find a good belt cover, green cover in the modern societies that we live in, and I'm talking about the society complexes. But where have the neem trees vanished? We see all sorts of trees around, but the neem tree, the people tree, they are not seen around. Now, is this something thought through? I don't know. But definitely somebody has not put their mind into it. Otherwise, that is the best way of eco-restoration. And there are experts on the panel who can talk about the multiple benefits of neem, people and other trees in restoring the ecological balance. And what that lady, that senior lady told me, that what I can do is at least I can, just sprinkle some tulsi seeds somewhere. No. There are smaller shrubs and herbs which can come around. But imagine the value that they bring around. So there was another question which was asked in the panel, that while this building has been designed the way it is, and it is obviously not giving, not proving to be carbon efficient, what can I do? Because I wasn't a part of this building when it was built, and I think Tanya explained it very beautifully, that while you can't help that, help things that you can. While I can't help who planted those trees, eucalyptus or elsewhere in my complex, at least I can grow some tulsi. That's something that I can do. I even heard people saying that, whatever fruits you are eating, try and see to it that those seeds could be grown. Now people, experts here can say how much will that contribute, because see, today if I think that I will start growing 10 trees, doing things like that, yes, that is to an extent doable. But how much as a layman can I contribute? I think these are the smaller, finer things that we can do. Otherwise, absolutely right what Mr. Sharma said. The top 5 risks, and I think the 4th or the 5th risk is on biodiversity. Imagine on the global level, if this is being talked about as such an important risk, then where are we sitting on? And the kind of country we are and the number of people that we have, if water is really what is being talked about, and we are still not preserving nature, preserving water. We all were using buckets. Our parents were all using buckets to take a shower, but we've all come here. Now I think it'll not be very far when we go back, because we are going back for most of the things where people from the other side are telling us. I am also part of it, so I'm not blaming anybody or shaming anybody. We are all in the same boat. But what I'm just trying to put across, that as a country, as a nation, we have always been doing that. We have always considered the ecosystem to be our mother. The only thing is that we understand, read through, and start believing in that once again. Once we start believing, I'm 100% sure we'll start putting that into action. And that is when, as a country, we will be able to grow, because for us it is much more important than for anybody else, I would say, because we are the top 5 today. I'm sure we're going to be coming to top 3 and 2 and 1 someday, and with the kind of population that we have, I'm sorry I'm not able to talk negatively about that, because that is one of our strengths today. But for that youth to understand it, somebody will have to teach them, somebody will have to let them know about our culture being like that. And then probably someday, we can call ourselves something like in Costa Rica or Botswana, who have been able to, Costa Rica I understand is the only country which has been able to reverse the deforestation process which was happening, and half of its land is now covered with forests. We have such beautiful lands and all sorts of diversity as far as ecosystem is also concerned. The only need is, and the government support is there, people are working around, we have bureaucrats sitting here who have done so much, who are doing so much in this field. I think it is just if we go back to our roots and go back to our basics is when we can fulfill that. I think that's where I want to rest.
Thank you very much, Meenakshi. And it was really you connected with not only sharing the real story, but at the same time, being part of this ecosystem, it's our also responsibility how we responsibly act in our various activities. That's one part. And certainly, as you said, in our worship, when we say Bhagwan, what Bhagwan is basically in our terminology, Bha se bolte bhumi. I'm afraid how Dr. Agnes would understand this, but certainly who understands Hindi, Bha se bhumi, or jo hum bolte hain, next is Ga se gagan, or Va se vayu, A se agni, or Na se ni. I think all these comprising of biodiversity. So if we care for these 5 elements and we worship, certainly we can really have balance of biodiversity and ecosystem on it. So basically, just to tell Dr. Agnes, we are talking about water, air, as well as soil. All these things, if taken care of, worshipping them, certainly biodiversity and ecosystem can be maintained. The level of balance between the two can be maintained. So now
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So we move on to Mr. Amit Pawar, who is from Jal Shakti, associated with Jal Shakti. Certainly, because of the paucity of time, we would like quickly, precisely if you can share something on water conservation activity or water sustainability, that what you are doing in Jal Shakti.
So majorly when we talk about water sustainability, we are basically talking about source, because the source is the major, I would say, product on which you can basically provide water to habitations. Because flora, fauna, or when we talk about humans, you really need the, what should I say, the source which is basically there. So we are basically doing a lot much. So there is this Catch the Rain program which has been basically started by Ministry of Jal Shakti, wherein we are trying to create more of riverbeds, we are trying to create more of Amrit Sarovars, so that we can try to maximize the opportunity to catch the rain. We are also basically looking forward to riverbed conservation, watershed management, and over and above, we are also utilizing the best use of, I would say, new age technology. For example, when you talk about drones, so where exactly on a hilly region, you can create a source for habitations. So that ways we are actually coming forward. And not only this, when you talk about water sustainability, sustainability is a bigger piece, because it's not only for the human aspect, but it is also for, when I say flora and fauna. Today, if we look at the migration, if you see the kind of migration which is happening from the rural sect to the urban sect, the migration is happening because the kind of need of the source is basically getting depleted out there. And that is basically creating major chaos in the cities. When you see that in summers, the water is not there, the tankers are not there, and people are actually striving very hard because of majorly the slums are basically, for example, if I'm going to give you an example about Delhi, so you might have basically heard of this particular place called Sangam Vihar. Every year you might see that there is this major problem of water which basically comes there. You go to Badarpur area, you go to various Buradi area, and this is happening. And over, if we are not actually looking forward to the source, we are not actually preserving the source of water, we are not creating more of source. Water is finite, and the kind of depletion we are doing, and not only when you say every human, specifically in industries today, the industries will not be flourishing, they will be automatically depleting. And when I say industries, you talk about sugar, you talk about FMCG, you talk about dairy, everyone is dependent on it. I will not be basically saying this, but I will give you an example. Long back, there was this satellite town which was basically built. And to provide the water to that satellite town, a few villages, multi-village, so the water from there was basically diverted to basically give water to those particular satellite towns. Today, the context is that the water is on a reverse side. So we are basically creating opportunities wherein we can give water to the village side. So the kind of programs which the government is basically doing at this point of time is not just to provide water, but make sure that the habitations are given all the kind of basic necessities in terms of sanitation, in terms of water, so that they are well developed and they are not actually giving much stress on the urban infrastructure. So likewise, even the corporate world, they should basically look forward to reducing their water footprint. Be it textile, be it sugar, be it FMCG, be it cement industry, wherever you see, they're the major pollutants on water. And today, when I see that major of the corporate world, they are coming forward in their CSR activities and they are doing really good work in terms of SDG 6.1, 6.2. They are actually looking forward to river basin management. They're talking about how they can basically reduce their water footprint. Now they are also talking about all this particular thing in their VSR reporting. Now that is somewhere where we are actually looking at water sustainability being one of the major aspects.
Thank you very much. I think water is a scarce commodity, we all know, but how mindful we are utilizing this water in our day-to-day activities, that is important. And in my industry, what we say is water has to be not seen differently, it has to be treated like a raw material, so that it's a cost ultimately. So whatever water saved is also adding to your bottom line in terms of its treatment cost and also in the downstream expenses that we are incurring. Just to let you know, through because we are into sugar, as I mentioned, in distillery business also, where a lot of farmers are also engaged with us. So in terms of sugarcane productivity, we are through various programs, and not only under CSR, but under Meetha Sona. This is our flagship program, which was launched in 2009, and today we see the fruits when these agri practices are shared with farmers. The productivity increase has not only led to better income for them, but at the same time, it has also a direct business link for us as well. So which in terms of not only saving water because of various good practices in terms of mulching, laser leveling and many other biological nutrients that are used, we could save to the tune of some 900 billion liters of water over the last 7 years. That's how this impact is not limited to a specific area, but the entire region also gets benefited in a way. So having said that, now let me move on to the last panelist, Mr. Uday Shankar Singh, who is from one of the NGO, Vishwa Yuva Kendra. Would like to hear from you what exactly you are doing, how it is ultimately impacting our biodiversity as well as ecosystem.
Thank you so much, sir. Respected panelists, under the moderation of Dr. Sharma ji and all sisters and brothers, I would like to request Dr. Agnes, I will speak in Hindi for the benefit of the larger section and kindly bear with me. Thank you so much. So, भाइयों बहनों, बहुत आपने टेक्निकल चीज़ें सीखा होगा। 6 मिनट 3 डिस्क्लेमर। एक तो ज्ञान की बात नहीं मैं करूँगा, दूसरी कोई बात रिपीट नहीं करूँगा, तीसरा जो भी बोलूँगा दिल से दिल तक पहुँचेगी। 5 मिनट आपके प्यार में सुनेंगे, हमें बहुत ही अच्छा लगेगा। मैं आज वो बातें रखूँगा जो कोई किताब से नहीं लाया। 20 वर्ष 22 वर्ष से जो हमने डेवलपमेंट सेक्टर में काम किया है, 10,000 NGO के साथ हमारी एक नेटवर्किंग है, 1 लाख से ज़्यादा यूथ के साथ हमारा नेटवर्किंग है। मैं उनकी वॉइस बन के आपके सामने रखने का प्रयास करूंगा और बहुत अच्छी पैनल से यहाँ अच्छी बातें आई। उसमें एक बात जो सबसे बड़ी आई कि हमें जो ये बायोडाइवर्सिटी और इकोसिस्टम की बात करते हैं, ये हमें विरासत में मिली है, बहुत विरासत में मिली है। और मैं तो कहता हूँ कि केवल हम इतनी बात से शुरुआत करें कि ताउम्र हम एक ही गलती करते रहे, ताउम्र हम एक ही गलती करते रहे, धूल चेहरे पर थी और आईना साफ करते रहे। हम लोग यही दिन प्रतिदिन करते हैं, बहुत अच्छे डिस्कशंस करते हैं, लेकिन उस तरफ हम जाते हुए नहीं दिखते हैं। मातृवत प्रदारेषु परद्रव्येषु लोष्टवत आत्मसर्वभूतेषु जठरस्थिति पंडिता, ऐसे बिरादरी से हम आने वाले हैं, फिर क्यों जरूरत है बायोडाइवर्सिटी और इकोसिस्टम पर बात करने के लिए? इसलिए कि पूर्वजों के किए कराए पर हम पानी फेर रहे हैं, कहीं हम उनके संस्कार को सृजित नहीं कर रहे हैं। जहाँ तक विश्व केंद्र की बात है, विश्व केंद्र के द्वारा हम 6 ऐसे एक्टिविटी चलाते हैं सर, जिसके अंतर्गत हम बायोडाइवर्सिटी और इकोसिस्टम की हम बात कर सकते हैं। पहला है कि जो अमित जी ने बहुत अच्छे बात से कहा है कि माइग्रेशन जब तक नहीं रुकेगी, रूरल अर्बन बैलेंस जब तक क्रिएट नहीं होगा, तब तक चाहे हम SDG के 17 गोल्स की बात कर लें, लाइफ बिलो वाटर की बात कर लें या लाइफ ऑन लैंड की बात कर लें, लेकिन ये बात तो रह जाएगी, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकल में हम इसको अंजाम नहीं दे सकेंगे। इसको देखते हुए हम सबसे पहले क्लाइमेट लिटरेसी का एक प्रोग्राम चलाते हैं। सेकेंड हम लोगों ने जो प्रोग्राम डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट का है, थर्ड हमारा लाइवलीहुड प्रमोशन का है और नेचुरल फार्मिंग की है, एग्रो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का है एंड वाटर सैनिटेशन एंड हाइजीन का है सर। मैं इसके डिटेल में नहीं जाना चाहूँगा, केवल इतना बताना चाहूँगा कि इसके पीछे पर्पस सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये है कि हम अपने खेत खलिहान को संभाल सकें, हम अपने नदी नाले को सृजित कर सकें। और जब तक इन चीज़ों का सृजन नहीं होगा, जब तक इन पहलू पर हमारी बात नहीं होगी, तब तक शायद हम पर्यावरण को संरक्षित और संवर्धित नहीं कर सकते। तो सबसे पहले एक गृहिणी से लेकर एक विद्यार्थी से लेकर एक स्कॉलर तक को क्लाइमेट लिटरेसी से अवगत होना बहुत जरूरी है। तो ये हमारा एक आप लोगों के लिए पैगाम है कि जहाँ भी रहें, यद्यपि यहाँ 40 लोग हैं, लेकिन मैं इसे 40,000 लोग समझ रहा हूँ, क्योंकि कोई ऐसा व्यक्ति नहीं है कि अपने जीवन काल में 1000 से ज्यादा लोगों से नहीं मिलता जुलता हो। अगर आपने 1,000 लोगों से अपना बीड़ा उठाया, तो ये वर्कशॉप सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ ग्लोबल सस्टेनेबिलिटी समिट के आयोजक को कि आपने इतने अच्छे समिट कराए और हमें भी मौका दिया। कहने को बहुत सारी बातें हैं, लेकिन मैं जानता हूँ मॉडरेटर साहब कि स्लिप आए उससे पहले मैं रोक दूं तो वो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। लेकिन एक मैं सर से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा कि हमेशा जो अंतिम बोलता है उसको समय की कटौती क्यों की जाती है, जो शुरू से बोलते हैं उनको भी क्यों नहीं किया जाता है। ये कोई इस हॉल की बात नहीं है, ये पूरे वर्कशॉप, सेमिनार्स, सिंपोजियम, कॉन्क्लेव जो देखें, हम आप सभी महानुभावों से आग्रह है कि कृपया इस चीज को आप भी समेट कर ले जाएं। अंत्योदय तो सर्वोदय, अंत्योदय नहीं तो सर्वोदय नहीं, इस बात को ध्यान रखेंगे। कभी मौका मिलेगा हम आपके इंस्टीट्यूशंस में आएंगे, कॉलेजेस में आएंगे, ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में आएंगे, विश्व केंद्र में हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं, बड़ी अच्छी अच्छी बातें करेंगे। एक शेर आपको यहाँ समर्पित करता हूँ, इससे सारे बायोडाइवर्सिटी और इकोसिस्टम की बात आ जाएगी कि घर से निकले तो रास्ते सुनसान थे। फिर एक डिस्क्लेमर जो छोटे भाई बहन हैं उनके लिए है, बड़ों के लिए इसमें कुछ भी नहीं परोसा जा रहा है। घर से निकले सर तो रास्ते सुनसान थे, आपके कदमों में सर अर्पित कर रहा हूँ। घर से निकले तो रास्ते सुनसान थे, एक तरफ उपवन और एक तरफ शमशान थे। घर से निकले तो रास्ते सुनसान थे, एक तरफ उपवन और एक तरफ शमशान थे। अचानक एक हड्डी पैरों तले कुचल गए, अचानक एक हड्डी पैरों तले कुचल गए। उसके ये बयान थे, ए मुसाफिर कभी संभल कर चल, तुम भी कभी इंसान थे, तुम भी कभी इंसान थे, तुम भी कभी इंसान थे। हम इंसान हैं और आने वाले अगर पीढ़ी को, आने वाली पीढ़ी के लिए कुछ सृजित कर सके, संवर्धित कर सके, तभी इस लाइफ का होने का औचित्य है, नहीं तो इस लाइफ का होने का कोई औचित्य नहीं है। बस लास्ट एक पंक्ति यहाँ टेबल पर बैठे बैठे मैंने लिखा, वो आपको समर्पित कर रहा हूँ, उसी से अपनी वाणी को विराम दूंगा। विश्व केंद्र में जरूर आप कभी आए। और वो सर मैंने जो 2 पंक्ति लिखा है आपसे प्रेरणा लेते हुए, आपकी हिंदी इतनी प्रभावशाली है सर, जो हमने मॉडरेशन के पहले सुना, उसी पर 2 पंक्ति लिखा हूँ कि सुबह है और शाम है, जिंदगी तमाम है। सुबह है और शाम है, जिंदगी तमाम है। चलना चाहो तो रास्ते ही रास्ते, और न चल सको तो जीना किस वास्ते। जहां से चले थे वहीं चले जाना है, जहां से चले थे वहीं चले जाना है। बायोडाइवर्सिटी और इकोसिस्टम का यही अफसाना है। चाहो तो तोड़ दो, चाहो तो छोड़ दो, चाहो तो तोड़ दो, चाहो तो जोड़ दो, चाहो तो मुड़ जाओ, चाहो तो मोड़ दो। हम यहीं थे, यहीं हैं, यही रहेंगे, ये बिल्कुल बेबुनियाद है। आओ इकोसिस्टम की रक्षा करें, तभी जिंदगी आबाद है, वरना सभी कुछ बर्बाद है, बर्बाद है, बर्बाद है। बहुत बहुत आभार। जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय हिंद।
उदय शेखर जी, आपने इतने एनर्जी के साथ पूरा सेशन का जो है ना, जैसे कहते हैं क्रिकेट मैच में सिक्सर होता है ना, वैसे आपने किया है इस सेशन का, पूरा हाईजैक कर लिया आपने शॉर्टेस्ट टाइम में। थैंक यू वेरी मच। आई थिंक यू हैव मेड द सेशन सो लाइवली एंड आई थिंक वी कैन टेक 1 or 2 questions, though we have, I think I am realizing we have overshot the time, but certainly since this is the last panel discussion, so certainly no, there is no question. Very good. Yeah. Yes, please. If you can share your name and organization and then pose a question to whom you would like to ask.
अरविंद तिवारी, NGO CRDG फाउंडेशन से।
Yes, please.
मेरा नाम अरविंद तिवारी, NGO CRDG फाउंडेशन से। सिंह साहब ने बहुत सी वो बातें कही जो मैं कहना चाहता था, लेकिन फिर भी फॉरेस्ट एक्सपर्ट, हम लोगों ने जो फॉरेस्ट एक्ट इनेक्ट किया है एट द एंड ऑफ 19th सेंचुरी, क्या ये सबसे मेजर इम्पैक्टिंग फैक्टर तो नहीं है हमारे बायोडिग्रेडेशन के लिए, और टोटली जो बायोडाइवर्सिटी की आज बात कर रहे हैं उसके पीछे की हड्डी को तोड़ने वाला?
धन्यवाद आपको। प्लीज। फॉरेस्ट एक्ट पहली बार लागू हुआ 1927 में, और उसके बाद उस समय केवल 12 स्टेट में लागू हुआ था, और अभी भी ये फॉरेस्ट एक्ट केवल 16 स्टेट्स में लागू है, और हर स्टेट्स ने अपनी ज़रूरत के हिसाब से फॉरेस्ट एक्ट को अमेंड किया है और अपने अपने नए इनेक्टमेंट्स लाए हैं। एक अपडेट करना चाहेंगे कि हर 2 साल में सैटेलाइट इमेज से फॉरेस्ट रिसोर्सेज को, नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज को असेस किया जाता है। एक इंस्टीट्यूट है फॉरेस्ट सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया, इसको बायनियल रिपोर्ट के तौर पे हम लोग देखते हैं, और ये पब्लिक डोमेन में है। ये रिपोर्ट कहती है कि फॉरेस्ट या बायोडाइवर्सिटी डायनामिक एंटिटी है, आज कहीं है अच्छी फॉरेस्ट, डेंस फॉरेस्ट है, मोर डेंस फॉरेस्ट है, कल हो सकता है वो डिग्रेडेड हो जाए, लेकिन कहीं जो ओपन एरिया था वो डेंस फॉरेस्ट में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा। तो पिछले 1987 से हम इसको लगातार बायनरी असेस कर रहे हैं और उसके रिपोर्ट के बेसिस पे हम कह सकते हैं कि हमने नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज एंड बायोडाइवर्सिटी को खोया नहीं है, बढ़ाया है। और ये हमारी नहीं, सेटेलाइट की रिपोर्ट है, और सेटेलाइट की रिपोर्ट ग्राउंड ट्रूथिंग के बाद भी उसको कंफर्म किया जाता है।
इसमें आपने जो दो बातें आती हैं, फॉरेस्ट एक्ट आया, लैंड को आपने एक्वायर करना शुरू किया और जो उसके भूस्वामी थे, जो उसके यूज़ करने वाले थे, उनको डिस्प्लेस किया। That triggered the change of shifting migration which has been talked about. And as soon as the migration started damaging the basic structure. One, the forest produce which were being there. Most of the forests, now they are growing the plants which will be used for the wood to be used for as a timber. So it is going from the natural things to timber-based industry, and it has been done very specifically. If you see, all over the covers are being done with that, and lot many things are developing as per that. That one, and that what we Chitakari and all those things we are talking about, if we maintain the actual forest which was there as per the climatic and geographical conditions, then they are self-sustainable. This corona has taught us that if we don't touch the nature, nature is self-correcting. Means we are the destructors. When we are the destructor, we have to correct ourselves. And I appreciate Mr. Singh that he was so bold and very clear that we talk here. We don't actually do in the ground. And that is visible very clearly.
I respect your thoughts. I appreciate your thoughts, but the fact is quite contrary. See, just a minute. Let me share one of the statistics before all of the August gathering. We import the timber to the tune of 50,000 crores annually. And we produce the timber from the forest is hardly 3%. So forest is not the timber producing centers. Timber is produced by the farm from the farmers, and we are compensating from the importing from the timber from outside the country. So we have not dislodged any populations, number one. When you see the census of the tribal populations in the country, in 1947 and today, more populations are residing inside the forest. After the promulgation of the Forest Right Act, the rights have been given to the locals who are already residing inside the forest. So fact is quite contrast, what you are saying.
In Uttarakhand, the people are fighting for their forest rights. In many places, that type of fights is going on. I think it is debatable. Mr. Sharma must be getting worried about extension of time and all those.
No, not worried.
The thing
These
is,
discussions can happen during tea time also.
the thing is, the fact is, we as foresters have disturbed the forest life, and we have deprived the origins of their actual rights, which was there. And we have taken, by using the various laws, there are evidences. There are a lot of disturbances going in Uttarakhand, I know, because our team is working there. Lot many things are there. Lot many factories are being built, and the green lands are being used for all these things. Why? Not many things are happening. If we debate, it will take time. I appreciate Mr. Singh to be very working. I think he is working on the solutions. We are talking, we are not working. Sorry.
I mean, the online connection may lapse within 10 minutes.
Okay. So maybe a last comment, the final one from Dr. Agnes for this session so that we can close.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm here with passion, so much passion and so many applauses. We're all on the same journey together. No one country can, no one government can do it alone. So we just have to collaborate with all the parties to conserve biodiversity. But the first thing really is to educate people. Not only educate corporates and governments who have to know how to do the governance, and also we have to educate ourselves and do our part, as I was hearing. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all the fellow panelists for a great contribution, making this session very, very lively. Thank you very much once again. And thanks to all of you for your patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We're all very truly grateful for your dedication and for enriching this summit with all of your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you so much. And I would now be requesting CS DEEPAK Jain sir to please come on stage and felicitate. And please felicitate our speakers. We thank Ms. Agnes K.Y. Tai. Can we have a great round of applause, please? Sir, to please felicitate our moderator for this session, Mr. Krishan Kumar Sharma. Can we all give a big round of applause, please?
Thank you, sir.
I invite Mr. Sanjay Gupta also to please give away the felicitation. We now felicitate.
Thank you, sir.
I now request them to felicitate.
Sir, please. Thanks.
And now a very energetic address to all of us.
Thank you, sir. She spoke very well. Thank you, sir. Please. Yes, sir. It's okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Valedictory session on the theme and social sustainability and technology. I would now be inviting, we have with us Ms. Chavi Prabhakar, who is the member of Managing Committee of DMA. Ma'am, can we please have you on stage? Can we have a great round of applause, please? I would now like to invite Dr. Supriya Sharma, who is the Executive Director, Strategy of BrainGlow. Ma'am, can we please have you on stage? Can we have a great round of applause, please? I would now like to invite Mr. DEEPAK Jain, Chairman of DMA ESG Committee, to please also come on stage. Can we have a great round of applause, please? And now I would like to invite Mr. Sanjay Gupta, who's also a CS and Chief Compliance Officer, Indigo Airlines, to come for this session. DEEPAK Jain sir to please proceed with it. Can we have a great round of applause for our final valedictory session?
In the field of education, in the case of healthcare, in the case of various other professional work, even in the court judiciary cases and all. But at the same time, we were reading that artificial intelligence can be used. It can create such a problem that it can be a problem for the humanity as such. For example, one of the great CEO of the ChatGPT, when he was sacked and he was reinstated. So he said recently, 1 month before, that I did not have much shivers when I was sacked, but now I am realizing that artificial intelligence, its future uses, its misuse is giving me more shivers. So, friends, artificial intelligence, we can use it for our good, for creating ways towards sustainability, or if it goes unchecked, it can really create problem for us. In fact, there are experiments are going in the world over where the chips being implanted in the mind of the animals so that they can play video games. And in future, they will be implanting the chips in the mind of the human also for doing various things which is not possible for a normal human being, for a normal Homo sapiens. So this was just a thought for the panelists. any thought in the mind of the panelists as far as technology is concerned. And social sustainability, my dear friends, when the government has set its target to be a developed country by 2047, so one of the main emphasis is inclusive growth, social sustainability. It is very, very important that when we grow, we include the masses with us. All the sections of the society we need to include while growing. So these are 2 points which the panelists, if they have some thoughts, we can discuss. And then in the end, we would like to review the whole summit. And then immediately thereafter, we are holding an award ceremony. Friends, leadership is the most important quality, ability for the individuals we need to follow for the future. Considering the risk we are having, like climate crisis and the artificial intelligence, so we need leadership who can take the India and the world ahead. And at present, the awareness level is around 30 to 40% maximum as far as sustainability, artificial intelligence, and all such topics. So it is very, very important. We thought at the level of DMA that whosoever doing something in the field of sustainability, we should acknowledge them, we should appreciate them, we should award them. So this ये हमारी एक कोशिश है और हम लोगों ने we had a very, very prominent jury consisting of 5-6 members. It was headed by Mr. K.K. Sharma, whole-time director, DCM Shriram, and then we have Dr. Murthy from IIM Mumbai. We have Dr. Yogesh Mishra, President DMA, Secretary Mr. Amit Arya from DMA, and then equally supported by Dr. Supriya Sharma and Mr. Sanjay Gupta. So very, very prominent jury, and they have selected after various discussions. Although we are acknowledging and recognizing each and every nominee, but we have selected 6 leaders to whom we will be awarded trophies. But at the same time, we will be acknowledging by giving certificates of appreciation to all the nominees because they have applied and they have been doing something good in the field of sustainability.
What I have to share as the first for this particular session and last for today, because I have utmost respect for your time and attention. Therefore, in 1 line or 2 lines, what I would like to conclude my session today is the reason that we've gathered here is not just to discuss what's happening around the world, or not just to predict the future, what is going to happen in 20 years from now or 30 years from now. The whole idea is to create the future together. That is the reason we have gathered here. So if going back home, we've been able to take at least 1 point that we'll be able to incorporate in our lifestyle, and there's no right or wrong, of course, the choices differ based on the lifestyle you're leading already. Even if it's just 1 point that we are able to take back home and we are able to implement it, whether in our personal lives or in our corporates or businesses, I think our job is done. I'll repeat again, we haven't gathered here to predict the future. We have gathered here to create it. So the number of synergies that have been processed today, or the kind of collaborations that have been made today during this summit, is what is the factor that encourages us to hold more such summits or conferences. Because the whole idea for me on a personal level, for each of you who's taken time and resources to come to this place is, if not you are able to recover return on investment, at least the return of investment is what you should get. So return on investment is what I pray for you, maybe 10 times, 20 times, 100 times for what you've invested to come here. And I mean the kind of time that you've taken a day off from your work, which counts a lot. If not return on investment, at least return of investment. That makes sense to me. I'll conclude with that. Thank you so much again, and I sincerely appreciate each of your presence on behalf of the DMA ESG Committee.
About the whole summit, about the misuse of technology, anything
Well, we talked of sustainability today. About 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens migrated from Africa, and their population was just about, I think, maybe 10,000 or something. And the world population has grown exponentially from 5 million 10,000 years ago to 1 billion in 1800, and nearly 10 billion it is going to be by 2050. And it's the same Earth, it's not growing. So obviously sustainability is required, because from 10,000 to 10 billion, if we have to occupy the same space, we need our Earth to be sustainable. And that is what is most important. And of course, we did discuss about the global warming, fossil fuel burning and alternate energy sources, etc., which are all very, very important. In fact, we do need to get rid of the panel I was in, we discussed about this, so we do need to get rid of or reduce fossil fuel as far as possible. There were other panels which discussed all the other aspects of sustainability, which is really very important. And I think such programs are required. And what Mr. Deepak Jain talked about, artificial intelligence, that is one thing I'm really scared of, because I always thought I was intelligent. Now I'll have to need artificial intelligence to think of something or do something. So in any case, let's keep the world where we are, and let's make it a better place for the future generations. That's my take on this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, Madam Chavi, would you like to say anything about this summit? What is the need, in your view, what is the need of this type of summit? Does it help in promoting sustainability? So anything you would like to say? She is a management committee member of our Delhi Management Association also.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jain. It's so nice to be part of this summit, because while we all know that this is the need of the hour, like I'm not a sustainability expert, but yes, what comes to my mind immediately is, as Priyanka just said, Supriya just said that, a saying by, a line by Peter Drucker comes to my mind, which is, if you want to, you cannot predict the future. If you want to predict the future, you create it. And when you talk of this, it's such a powerful line for sustainability, because all of us keep talking sustainability, inclusive growth, sustainability, and carbon footprint, and all the trending things that are words. But yeah, what does it mean? So for a lay person like me, it means social sustainability, economic sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So when you do a little bit of deep diving into that, that's when you realize at the crux of everything, the pillars are equality, inclusivity, and diversity, and of course a good quality of life. And when we say good quality of life, it actually means everyone has a right to good education, healthcare, mental healthcare, physical healthcare, has a right to affordable housing, has a right. So the basic things is what we need to, make sure that for the future generations, it is made available in the easiest manner, cost effective, and that's where sustainability actually, I would say, starts and ends. So that's my, what should I say, analysis of the day. But thank you very much. It's been a pleasure hearing all the stalwarts And of course, Mr. Singh has already received the maximum applauses. So thank you very much.
थैंक यू हमारे बीच डॉक्टर वी एम बंसल हैं चेयरमैन NDIM. मैं सर से रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा प्लीज. या संजय, हाउ वुड यू लाइक टू रिएक्ट टू दिस समिट टुडे? आप सुबह से अब तक हैं, अगर जो इफ यू कैन रिव्यू द होल समिट.
I think the purpose with which we held this summit, to my view, in my view, this has been largely fulfilled. Because purpose is not just to come and speak and other people listen. Purpose is to create the awareness. Purpose is that we are all compelled to think about, so that we all become, agent of change in fact. Because हमारे सोचने से कुछ नहीं होगा. We have to create awareness in the society, so that all of us feel, Let me go into basics about the sustainability. What is that? It simply means the environment which we inherited, our forefathers inherited when there was no industrialization. We have to create, maintain and preserve that, so that our future generation have the same quality of life which our forefathers used to have earlier. Because industrialization, commercialization, this we have done for our own interest. This does not mean that this gives us any right to pollute it or make it inhabitable for future generations to come. And secondly, when we talk sustainability not only about the environment, this is about the society also. Because this is the goal of the Prime Minister also, that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That means all the social ends have to be met. There has to be no poverty, good education, health and social well-being, and just to make sure there's the fruits of development and industrialization are shared amongst all the people, the major section of society, irrespective of gender of the people. I just read somewhere, the real development is that when the fruits of development reach the last citizen in the remotest corner of the country, because this is a real development in fact. And just to make sure, this is very, very necessary that when the social development takes place, so this is shared by all the people, irrespective of what gender the person belongs to, what section this is, whether this person is marginalized or not, economically driven or not. And in that direction, I think today we mostly talk about the environmental sustainability, because that is very, very important in fact. Because for this world to have the same quality of life which we had maybe around 100 years back, a lot of efforts are required. There are a lot of things which have been done. The Sustainable Development Goals which have been set in 2015, and this talk about various things, the social goals, economic goals and environmental goals, everything have to be met. And not only India, but every country in the world, they have taken place to meet those objectives, but I think the efforts which have been made so far are little efforts in fact. Because efforts cannot be fulfilled just by the government pledging for that. As we discussed today, that the feeling has to come from within, that we have to change. In that direction, we talked about lifestyle for environment. That means each and every person on the individual level and the society level, they have to make efforts and adopt those lifestyles only which sustain and protect and diminish the whatever damage has been done to the environment. Then only change can happen. And in the direction thing that largely I feel when I see the reaction of the people who are sitting and the kind of delegation we had today, purpose has been largely fulfilled. We need to have such kind of conference more and more. But the more important thing is that we become the agent of change in fact, and spread this kind of feeling in the society also. Then only change can happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. We appreciate your words. And we will now request Dr. Bansal to say a few words about the need of such kind of summit. And we need your good wishes, blessings and support being the senior most member. Yes.
No, thank you Deepak for giving this great opportunity to New Delhi Shillong Management, to our faculty and students who are here. I would only, in fact, a lot of learning is happening. So these events create that continued awareness is very essential. And I'll only say one more thing is that it has to go to nursery or pre-nursery classes. It has to go to the parents, and unless that happens, all our efforts would be very, very small efforts only. Because today, let's talk about the so-called developed families or the families who can afford. So their sustainability is suffering a lot. That's not being taught in the so-called hi-fi schools, high-end schools. We have a couple of them around us, and we also have some Sarkari schools around us, and we see the difference. So what I would say is that till we reach the youngest of the lot, the preschools and the primary schools, they are the best way to multiply our efforts in a very, very big way. That's all, because I remembered we had conducted a big Green Summit in 2012, okay, where almost 100 CEOs from across the country had come. And those videos are still live with us. And a couple of my friends in the corporate world at that time, they said कि भाई साहब आज तक हमें पता ही नहीं था कि हम बिजली जलती छोड़ देते हैं, पानी चलता छोड़ देते हैं. उसके बाद में हमने इतना देख लिया है कि now we keep on switching it off. So I remember when we were small, we were always careful. I went to USA a couple of years back. My small young niece, she was showing me the house. And जब भी इतने बड़े घर में एक कमरे से दूसरे कमरे में जाती थी तो उसकी लाइट्स ऑफ कर रही थी. Okay, but we have forgotten that culture, and I think we need to go back to schools and primary schools. All the very best, everybody.
Thank you, friends. Thanks. Yes, I would invite Nidhi for the award function. Yes, sir. Please.
Very good suggestions have been given by all the speakers. Really appreciated. My point is, just now somebody was saying that this needs to be implemented, or Mr. Bansal said we should start from school and pre-nursery. So whatever we discuss here, a lot of things are not in our hands, as your predecessor just said. So is there some way that what we discuss and what we intend to do and plan and implement, this reaches the authorities who are actually in control of these things to make it happen? For example, Ms. Basi was talking about this entire, for example, she gave the example of this room. If it had windows, if there was natural light, so much of it, energy would not go waste. So are we doing that, or we intend to do it, or we don't intend to do it? What we suggest for all this, whatever you are discussing, so reach the authorities who actually implement it.
So government is doing a lot towards sustainability, toward climate.
But my point is that what we have, like you said, people invest in time, so it should be fruitful in terms of getting things done.
Yes.
We at least move one step forward.
Actually, this summit is also for the masses to wake up. This is main aim of this summit is because government is doing at present is good efforts. Let me tell you. थोड़ा बहुत होगा कहीं पे 19-20, but the main है public जो ये सोचती है कि हो जाएगा अपने आप, technology will take care, वो vaccination will come. Climate के लिए कोई vaccination नहीं आएगी, my dear friends. In some WhatsApp group it's going on. सब ठीक हो जाएगा, government will take care, ये will take care. नहीं, we have to do. हम सबको थोड़ा एक मग्गा पानी हम सबको डेली बचाना है.
Just take one more minute. Like in Mann Ki Baat, the Prime Minister says, you write a letter to me, if in case you have some suggestion, if it is suited, I will take it up. So it is quite possible some suggestion might actually click. This is my suggestion. Choices of course.
Sorry, it's already done. It got to Davos. Everybody is aware already. So the 5 people in this world cannot change the world. We all as a society. That is the message of this seminar. So you are very
my point is not there.
Sorry, okay. Anyhow, we will discuss. Yeah, Nidhi, please come. Yes, sir.
Just wanted to add, sir, to your question. My take is, as an industry, I think government is doing well in terms of clearing that environmental clearance clearly spells out all these initiatives, whether it is water recycling or even energy. Maximum renewable has to be there. So all these are part of conditions now. And in terms of green building also, if you are constructing some building, so these are now norms where industries have to comply with. But as far as I think masses are concerned, the today's session, since I attended the post-lunch, so it's the awareness which is more for sensitizing everyone to see what every individual is doing right now. Just raising that, I think this awareness is very, very important. So whatever best we can do, even if you are bringing change around yourself, in wherever community we are in, certainly that is something which should give you, I think you should raise your hand, pat your back yourself. That's the something which I do in my area where I am. Whatever influence you could do at your end, you should continue to do.
I just take half a second. I would request personally Mr. Harpalani to write to DMA, giving, because he has been through all the day here, whatever his views are there, we welcome it. We'd like to take it forward, in case it is found worth to be published in the newsletter which we bring out. Thanks a lot, Harpalani sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
We will now be concluding our valedictory session. Can we once again have a great round of applause for all our speakers on stage? I would like to thank you for this. As you will now be proceeding, thank you so much.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
I think you should also come in the picture. You have been thanking all of us so many times. Please come. Please.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Large impact on the environment, we as a community can help each other through small actions to ensure a healthier and even more sustainable future. And now, as we finally have arrived the award function ceremony, this is an occasion of joy for all of us, as we will now be celebrating our awardees who have won the Sustainability Leadership Awards. We had a team of 6 jury members, as sir had already mentioned their names: Dr. Shankar Murthy, who's IIM Dean Mumbai, Mr. Amit Arya, who's a senior DMA DP Essential, Mr. K.K. Sharma, Mr. Vinod Pandey, Mr. DEEPAK Jain, and Ms. Supriya. And as per our criteria, which was inclusivity, relevant connection with SDGs, impact made, and sustenance of the project, based on these criteria points, we had decided our winners. And to give away the awards, I would now like to invite on stage Mr. V.M. Bansal, who is the chairman of NDIM. So can we please have you on stage to give away the awards? I would like to invite C. Raj Chawla, who is a Central Council member of ICAI. I would like to once again call Mr. Krishan Kumar Sharma, Mr. Uday Shankar Singh, Mr. DEEPAK Jain, and Ms. Chavi Prabhakar. I request all of you to please come on stage to now give away the awards. To reflect on the preceding year and address the whole community and share the achievement. And with that, as sir told us, we would first be giving away the participation awards as a certificate of appreciation to all our nominees who did not give the award, who were not receiving the trophy, but their efforts towards making the planet a sustainable place will not go unnoticed. So with that, I will now be inviting Dr. Pranav Mishra. Can we please have you on stage? Dr. Arvind Tiwari. Can we have a great round of applause for Dr. Arvind Tiwari? He's from CRDD Foundation and is committed towards philanthropy. He's a social change leader. So, in fact, from his questions regarding the forest, we knew how passionate he was towards forest. So, thank you so much for your dedication towards our planet. Can we once again have a great round of applause?
Please, yes, please, sir.
I would now like to invite Dr. Avik Sinha. Do we have Mr. Sinha with us? Mr. Ankit Singh? Do we have Ms. Sanchita Garuda Mishra? Professor Dr. Gurbeer Singh Khera? Can we have a great round of applause for Professor Dr. Gurbeer Singh Khera from IIM? He's a leader in the education sector and has a passion for teaching. He's presently an external examiner and a freelancer and has received many awards related to the education sector. He's is also a very distinguished TEDx speaker.
सर थोड़ा सा एडजस्ट हो जाइए साथ में जी. यस सर, प्लीज लुक सर, लुकिए मैम, इधर देखिए मैम, प्लीज इधर देखिएगा जी सर. थैंक यू सर.
I would now like to invite Ms. Nidhi Verma from eValue Serve Holding. I think she's in absentia, and we have Mr. Saurabh Malik on her behalf to collect the award. Can we have a great round of applause, please?
थोड़ा सा सर पीछे हो जाइए प्लीज. लुक थोड़ा सा साथ में. यस, थैंक यू सर.
And now, as we move towards the awards, our winners amongst the all whose efforts in making this country, not just the country, this globe, the planet, even more habitable, I will now invite Dr. Reshmi Manna from Nanogrid. She receives the Sustainability Leadership Award. Do we have Dr. Reshmi Manna with us? I think she is not present with us. Our next award goes to Ms. Gayatri Prakash from Sakar Outreach. Do we have Ms. Gayatri with us? Our next awardee is Ms. Neelam Gupta from RO Foundation. Can we have a great round of applause, please? RO Foundation is working in the skill development sector, education, creating livelihood and school development sector, education, creating livelihood and school infrastructure among the underprivileged. It's definitely a cause that is so appreciated. So we have a great round of applause for the whole team.
Please sir. Yes, look here. Wait. Thanks.
Our next awardee is the Indian Social Responsibility Network. Do we have representatives from ISRF? Can we have a great round of applause, please? They are transforming school education for socially, economically, geographically disadvantaged communities and improving the quality of education, including the digital education, wash, pad vending machines and whatnot. Their efforts into making things accessible to all schools and for underprivileged is duly noticed. Can you once again give a great round of applause, please?
यस सर, आप थोड़ा सा बीच में हो जाएंगे, आपकी फेस आ जाएगा. यस, थैंक यू सर.
For our next award, I would like to invite Mr. Vijayash from Northport Software for receiving the Best Sustainable, Innovative and Technology Award to ensure sustainability. Can we have a great round of applause once again? Northport Software is a global software commercial vehicle, also involved in telecom, data, fintech, etc. Mr. Vijayash has demonstrated a passion for leveraging innovations to address pressing environmental challenges and drive positive change. He embodies a collaborative and a forward-thinking leadership style, inspiring his team to embrace sustainability.
मैम इधर देखिए, मैम प्लीज. थैंक यू सर.
And our final awardee winning the Best Sustainability Leadership Award, I would now like to invite Mr. Amit Pawar, who is the National Lead at Rural Wash Partners Forum. Mr. Pawar is also an MBA and has a strong knowledge and understanding on sustainability, ESG, new age emerging technologies. He is a strong leader in sustainability and a great relationship builder. His forum also created by Ministry of Jal Shakti.
सर थोड़ा सा इधर आ जाए. जी जी सर, सामने देखिए प्लीज सर, सामने. मैम लोग क्या. थैंक यू.
RWPF works extensively on sustainability themes like water quality management, source sustainability, plastic waste management and whatnot. And that was our last awardee. We're done with all the awards. I was told that there might be the outreach. Do we have representatives from the outreach here? I think they have left. So with that, we will be concluding.
So before we conclude this session, we will be failing our duty if we do not acknowledge the contribution of the audience who are here since morning. We would like to we should clap for the audience in front. So audience participants, we consider you as the soul of any conference. The soul of any conference, because without you, then we would like to also appreciate the efforts of our team, secretariat team, Kavita, Jyoti, Gaurav, and NDIM students. Just clap for them. Many of our creative work has been done by the NDIM students. We really appreciate their work. And among us, C.A. Rajchandra is here from Central Council member. We need few words of appreciation, being a leader from him, to encourage us doing such kind of summits.
DEEPAK Jain ji. I am the Central Council member of ICSI, as well as I am a proud Council Management Committee of DMA also. 4 years I have served as a treasurer of DMA. और अभी लास्ट कंक्लूडिंग टाइम पे भाई साहब कह रहे थे कि सरकार ये करे, गवर्नमेंट ये करे, इंस्टीट्यूट ये करे। मुझे तो अपना बचपन याद है। मेरे बचपन में मेरी दादी सिखाती थी, हमारे घर में जब पुरानी साइकिल हो जाती थी बड़े भाई की, वो छोटे भाई को जाती थी, और छोटे भाई से उसके छोटे भाई को जाती थी। कपड़े छोटे हो जाते थे तो वो, मान लीजिए आज की डेट में हमें कोई शर्ट छोटी हो गई तो हम उसको फेंक देते हैं। पहले वो शर्ट छोटे भाई को पहनने में कोई शर्म नहीं आती थी। मेरी ससुराल हरिद्वार में है, तो गंगा जी से हमारा बहुत नाता है। जब हम गंगा जी पे जाया करते थे हरिद्वार में, छोटी सी बात होती है सर, सस्टेनेबिलिटी कहाँ से शुरू होती है? हमारे घर वाले, हमारी दादी, हमारी माएँ, हमारी बहनें, बड़े हमें सिखाते हैं। तो कभी मैं अगर साबुन लेके वहाँ पे कि गंगा जी में स्नान करने जा रहे हैं, चलो नहा लेंगे, बोले ना मत नहाना। इतनी बड़ी गंगा जी हम सोचते थे इस साबुन के छोटे से क्या इफेक्ट होगा। कोई कपड़े धोने लगता था वहाँ पे, नहाने के बाद सोचता था चलो मैं यहीं पे ही इसको वॉश कर लूँ। नो, बिल्कुल अलाउड नहीं था। हरिद्वार जाइए गंगा जी के किनारे, उसका कारण क्या है? ये हमारा कल्चर है, ठीक है सर। तो कहने का मतलब है कोई भी चीज हमारे देश का, हमारे कल्चर का, हमारे संस्कारों का, हमारे को संस्कार में हर जगह सस्टेनेबिलिटी है। मेरी मम्मी सब्जी भी काटा करती थी घर में, तो जो सब्जी काटने पे जो वेस्ट बचता है उसको डस्टबिन में नहीं फेंकती थी, हमारे घर में गाय भैंस होती थी उसको देती थी। ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी है। और जब हम इसको घर से शुरू करेंगे, जैसे अभी हमने बात की थी कि लाइट बंद करना, पंखा बंद करना, ये सब चीजें वहां से अपने आप शुरू हो जाएंगी। हमें स्कूल से एक्सपेक्ट ना करके, गवर्नमेंट से एक्सपेक्ट ना करके, इस सस्टेनेबिलिटी को अपने घर से शुरू करना पड़ेगा। आज हम अपने बच्चों को नहीं टोकते। हम पानी का गिलास पीना होता है, हमें पीना थोड़ा सा है, पूरा गिलास लेकर फिर हम उसको फेंक देते हैं। सस्टेनेबिलिटी हो, मान लीजिए मैंने कम पिया, मैं अपने घर में हूं, मैं उसको ढक के रख दूं, बाद में पी लूंगा। लेकिन नहीं, हमें तो इतना है ही नहीं। कई बार आप देखते हैं, मेरे को बहुत गुस्सा आता है, कई बार हम शादी वादी में जाते हैं और पानी की हमने 2 बूंद पी होती है, बंदा वहीं छोड़ देगा, और बंदे से ज्यादा जो वेटर घूम रहे होते हैं वो देखते हैं ना, जरा सा भी यूज में उठा के ले जाएगा। वो पूछेगा भी नहीं उससे कि भाई साहब इसके होगी आप पिएंगे क्या? ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी है। हमें इस चीज को सब लोगों को जिम्मेदारी के साथ निभाना पड़ेगा। और फिर आप देखिए क्या इसका नतीजा होता है। सस्टेनेबिलिटी विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम आवर होम, फ्रॉम आवर थॉट्स, फ्रॉम आवर वर्किंग। So with this, I am thankful to the DMA for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. Thank you very much.
All the NDIM students, please come forward. Kavita ने बहुत Kavita has put in a lot of efforts. Jyoti आप भी आए, स्टेज पे आए. गौरव आप भी आए. गौरव has really worked a lot.
few people with the
अभी कोई ना जाए, अभी स्टेज से कोई ना जाए. Please come, please come, please come. Let's have a good photograph. Please come, please come. देखना भाई सब कैसे पूरे आ जाएंगे. Please come, please come.